you can still see the beginning of the episode. We only been about 10 minutes in, but we are gonna not gonna start all the way over. But I want to introduce y'all again. Got Casey Roberts here, good friend of mine, basically family. Born and raised Eastern Maryland. Former teammate of mine, played 2 years varsity together. So what we want to get into right now is just talking about the foundation of the church, the foundation that me and him came out of growing up at Eastern. Go ahead, Casey.
Yeah. So like we was talking about, man, that foundation was important. Having that background to be in church and to be fed the word and to be taught right from wrong. You know, a lot of times, nowadays, telling somebody that something is wrong is the wrong thing to do. But we were taught that there's a difference between right and wrong. There's a difference between clean and unclean. And you can do whatever it is you want to do, but there are consequences for your actions. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful for that understanding, because as I got older, now I did what I wanted to do. You know me, you grew up with me, right?
Yeah, so I did too. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. I did what I wanted to do, but there was a point in time where, that background that was put into me, that foundation that was put into me came back out. And you can only run for that for so long, right? The Bible says train up a child in the way they should go. When they're old, they will not depart from it, right? So it came a point where it's like, okay, listen, you need to stop fooling around doing all this foolery and get yourself together, because you know the difference between right and wrong. And so I'm grateful for that, because there are a lot of people out here that are just doing a lot of stuff because they don't know the difference between right or wrong. Nobody has shared with them the right way to go. You know what I mean? But we had that foundation, like I said, we talked about earlier, sitting on them hard pews in Mount Pisgah. I can remember. I don't know if you remember, but I can remember sitting in Sunday school with Sister Brittenham was our teacher, and she had the little cards with the picture on the front and the lesson on the back. You know what I mean? And I can remember reading those cards. Not really paying attention as a kid, but my spirit man was taking it in, and I was understanding.
Exactly.
Although I wanted to do other things, the right path on how to go. And I'm grateful for that foundation, man. It's nothing like it. And that's why now my son, look, we're going to the Bible study on, Wednesday night, Tuesday night, we're going to church on Sunday, you're going to sit in Sunday school. All the things that, I did that was good for me is good for him. And so I have him doing the same thing, because like I said, I'm grateful for the foundation that I was given. I didn't understand it at the time. I thought it was torture. You know what I mean? That you taking me out of basketball practice to go to church, or you waking me up 7:00 in the morning to drive all the way to Salisbury to go to church. But I'm grateful for that foundation, because where would I be if I didn't have it? I think I'd be a hot mess, bro, for real. So I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful.
Yeah. Man, I tell you, man, you said a lot there to unpack, man, and I want to start with, my grandfather told me a long time ago it's going to be a time when people are calling right wrong and wrong right.
Yes, sir.
Like you basically just said it. They're not, what's right is not right to everybody, what's wrong is not wrong to everybody. So you said it perfectly there. And I also like what you said, and it makes you feel good even as a dad, is because you said, and this is a great point, what works for me can also work for my son. You know what I mean? And that's what you know. You can only do what you know. That's why I always tell people, like times are different, stuff like that, but the word ain't changed. We sometimes we think things change, but it hasn't. And if all those things work for us, then why wouldn't it work? And like you said, it doesn't mean we're perfect. No one is, right? But that foundation helped us when times get tough. And then, like you said, at a point in time, you are doing wrong, that conviction is set in. You like, look, I gotta get myself together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you said a lot there, and then I forgot that's right. You used to drive all the way to Salisbury. You know what I mean? I forgot about that.
Yes, sir. You used to drive all the way to Salisbury. And I think we started doing that when I was in like 6th, 7th grade. We started driving all the way down.
That was more middle school, right?
Yeah, started driving down there. My dad was trying to be the pastor, and then when he became the pastor down there, it's like we got to get up every Sunday, like I said, Tuesday, and go all the way down to Salisbury because church is in session. You know what I mean? And we sit there, like I said, there'd be about 6 or 7 people in the audience, including us. And you know how big my family is, so we taking up all the space. And it's like he would go all the way down there just to minister to 2 or 3 people, and it's like, man, are you serious? Is this really what you're doing? You know what I mean? But I like I said, I
Yeah.
respect that now, and I'm grateful for it
Right.
now, because even if he wasn't talking to nobody but me and my brothers and sisters, we need
Mhm.
to hear the word. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
ministry starts at
Yep.
home. And so,
That's right.
yeah,
That's right. And that's also and he was being obedient. You know what I mean? Like you said, sometimes you get some pastors, preachers, whatever you want, whatever they are, is
yeah,
that unless it's a church full of people,
man, what?
they don't want to preach. But that ain't how it works.
Nah,
That ain't how it works. It don't matter, like you said, if it's 3 or 4, but just the family in there, because I've been in many churches. Even where we go now. Apostle Wharton, Sister Wharton.
yeah,
Probably last time you seen her. And sometimes, Friday night's not always jam packed, but whoever's there, we start on time, and if you miss it, yeah, that is what it is. But
right,
that foundation, even getting back to Sunday school, is key, because I make sure my daughter, she in Sunday school. Even after that, she go home, but she go to Sunday school. She
right.
goes to a Christian private school for school. She learns.
Mm-hmm.
She got a Bible verse she learns every week. And
Wow.
she spitting them out quicker than me now.
Yeah.
And she 5. So like you said, man, I'm glad you said that, man. That foundation, man, it means a lot. It
It's
means
important.
a lot. Let me.
It's important.
It's important. And let me ask you this, man, because I know you heard these things. I know I heard them too as a kid, and you probably heard them be more. You were a PK.
Mm-hmm.
No, you were a preacher's kid, right? So did you hear, whether it was jokes every now and then, and it might even be from friends just messing with you? You always in church, or why you worrying about this, or why you here? Because I know even me, with my grandparents, obviously being there, all the time, deacon and evangelist is like, hey, y'all always in church, or why you going to church? So you always certain things, and people make jokes about this, that. Did you hear any of that, growing up?
All the time. People making fun jokes. Y'all over. Like I told you the story when my dad pulled me out of basketball practice. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, you can't even practice. You know what I'm saying? So, it was a lot of jokes. Church boy and all that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, people just understood this is the life that they live in.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say whatever you want to say. Ain't nothing gonna change. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
exactly.
My dad made sure that we understood. Listen, fellas, folks gonna say what they want, but at the end of the day, you being raised this way for a reason, because I don't want you out here lost. I don't want you out here, not knowing the difference between right or wrong. So I'm raising you this way because this is the way I was raised, and it's good for me. Like you said earlier, what's good for me is good for you. And so you're gonna get the same treatment that I got. You know what I mean? And I'm just grateful. And I'm even more grateful for growing up in a smaller church. Like we talked about growing up in Mount Pisgah and that foundation, Deacon Bryce and Evangelist Bryce. I can remember, and like you said, at the time it was Sister Wharton, but now Apostle Wharton. I can remember all 3 of them and my godmom standing around in a circle doing praise and worship. You know what I mean? And I could with like hardly no music, may have been my brother or your cousin, somebody on the drums and the keyboard. That was it. You know what I mean? We was going in,
That's it. Going
and I'm
in.
grateful
going
for that.
in, man.
Yeah. And then every now and then, I don't know if you remember, but every now and then the Holy Lights would come down with the bass drums and the Holy Lights would kill it. They'd be killing it out.
Boy, you take me back, boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The Holy Lights be getting it in. Be there all night.
Yes. Yeah, man. I know Pastor Joni gonna see this too. But like you said, she'll maybe tag your brother or tag Dana or somebody in something we'll see sometimes that'll take us back to those Mount Pisgah days. Like you said, man, those smaller churches, man, like back then, that's what it was, or those storefront churches. It was all about the the mega church. But like you said, that foundation, and I tell everybody all the time, just like in a house can be built unless it got a good foundation.
That's it, man.
So man, that's good. That's good, man. That's good, man. But that you took me back there, but that's good. So like you said, you was in church a lot. Like you said, Dad, it might have took you out of basketball practice sometimes, and you had to do this, but you still found a way to get in your athletics. So, how did you start playing ball, man? Like, who first put the ball in your hand, and kind of how did that even kind of get started?
Yeah, that's crazy because we had a court in the backyard, right? So at Glenwood Court, my house was the place to be. We had a basketball court, we had the swing set, we was jumping back there, right? So ever since I can remember being a little boy playing on the court, with the in the background with the dirt and the dust coming up through my mom's window in the summertime. You know what I mean? That's how I learned to play. We started out before we even got the real court. We had the milk crates nailed to the tree, you know. And
Oh
we on the
yeah,
milk crates,
man.
you know, played many a game on a milk crate. You know what I'm saying? So playing with the milk crate and then learning it. I don't think I really played organized basketball till, like I said, middle school when I got on the team, you know, with Richard God coaching. That was the first time I played organized ball. I didn't play YMCA, you know, I didn't play none of that. I didn't play organized ball until then. So I was just playing pickup games, you know, around the neighborhood. And luckily for me, I had some heavy hitters in my neighborhood, Bonk, Jahari, you know what I'm saying? So if I could ball against them, I could do pretty good. So I was grateful for that. And like I said, a lot of the older kids, since my brother was 4 years older than me, my backyard was the place to be. So I would just wait for my opportunity to get in, to play with them. And then when I started playing organized ball, it was a little different than pickup game, but I got my talent or my skills from just playing in the backyard.
You know, it's funny you said that, man, and I'm glad you refreshed my memory, because I was going to ask you that, is because I remember growing up, and you're right. Some of us play YMCA, some of us play AAU, but you're right. You and that's probably maybe one of the reasons we didn't play till high school, even though you're a year older, is that you didn't play none of that. And now there's some of that have to do with the demand that church had, or was some of that just because, you know, talk a little bit more about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, it was definitely church. You know, I played a few. I can remember. I don't know whether or not it was AAU officially AAU at the time, but I know Richard was the coach, and we would go down to Salisbury and play. You know what I mean? And I can remember going down. And then I can remember we went to Coalfield House a few times. We got murdered down there, but I remember going down there and playing. You know what I'm saying? So I can remember going some different places and playing, but it wasn't constant, and I wasn't in it every year because, like I said, during practice I had to go to church, or if the games we had to go overnight, or if it was on, a Sunday, I couldn't play. So I didn't really get into it. And then, like I said, YMCA and things like that, just wasn't available to me at the time. So I really didn't have an opportunity to really play until high school. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think the time you talking about, I think it was like that beginning stage of high school, maybe like 8th, 9th grade for you when you did get a little bit AAU, right? But no YMCA, none of that. Because I remember I used to always wonder, because like you said, you still had a lot of guys that you could play with, like you said, like Jahar, like Bonky. So let's talk a little bit about some of the games, on the crate courts or around the circle. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you. When we got the real court, I think I might have been like, I don't know, 5th or 6th grade when we got the real court with the fiberglass backboard. And we'd be back there playing all day long. And everybody who wanted the ball would come and play. I mean, everybody. We'd be sitting on the green. I don't know if you remember the green box in the backyard, like the green electric box.
I remember.
Waiting for your turn to get in.
Transformer.
Yeah. It's like, I got next. You know what I'm saying? I got next. Let's get it. You know what I mean? So everybody who was playing ball at the time would come over there. And in order to stay on, you had to win, because winners stay on.
Yeah, you couldn't lose.
What I'm saying?
You couldn't lose.
Because if you lose,
you might as well go home if you lose.
Yeah, you got 20 other people waiting. You know what I'm saying? So we get out there, and I can remember, sometimes even though I was younger, I would be picked up to be on the team because I had some skills. You know what I'm saying? And so my team would be winning. You know what I mean? And I'd be able to pick up on things and learn things. And it's crazy because I'll never give Jahari the credit for this. I'll never give him the credit for this. But I can remember him, showing me some things in terms of basketball and how to do certain things. Him and I spent some hours out on the court just going over some stuff. And like I said, I'll never give him credit, so don't tell him I told you this. But you know what I'm saying? He showed me some things on the basketball court, and I can remember I showed him some dance moves or whatever because he didn't really know how to dance. And so just having cool friends like that in the neighborhood was how I really learned how to ball. So I'm grateful just for having the court in the backyard, just picking up things around the other, the neighborhood. Took a piece from this person, took a piece from that person, and try to just make it my own. You know what I mean? So
that's dope. That's dope. Yeah. I was actually gonna, I was gonna answer that. I asked that too. I'm glad you said that. Is that kind of how'd your game develop? I didn't know if it was You can still answer this, whether it's an NBA player you looked at as well. But like you said, I know how it is growing up in the neighborhood. You're right. Being able to take a piece from Jahari, a piece from Bonk, a piece from, whoever it was.
Yeah.
And that's how it was for us growing up. I mean, we were, like you said, pretty much in school at the same time. So being able to see the Marley Bellies in front of us, the Terry Brooks in front of us, Big Mike Walker, guys like that, James Thomas, guys like that, being able to take a little bit from them and then add on to whatever we wanted to, and, into our games. But so was it a combination of that? And also, was there anybody in the league, you looked up at? Because the reason I'm asking, man, because you were rare back then, because you came in as at least when we started playing, you came in as an all-around player. It's not like you just scored or you just rebounded. So that's why I want to ask you, like, kind of who else you try to pattern your game after a little bit?
Everybody. I can't say that there's one person. Like you talked about. I can remember going to the high school games and watching the Marty Bailey, you know what I'm saying? James Brooks, all these guys playing. I'm like, man, they killing it out here, And then going back, and at that time, my dad and my brother, they Knicks fans, so we'll let them have that. But they Knicks fans. So I grew up watching the Knicks, you know what I mean? And of course, Jordan was everybody's, dude back in the day when we was growing up. Everybody wanted to be like Mike, So you try to pattern your game after certain things, but then you realize, your height or your stature or your skill set may not be suitable for some of the things you see on TV or you see other people do. Oh. So you try to figure out what's best for you. And I realized early that I was faster than a lot of people, especially going to the cup. Like my first step, I'm blowing by you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you were.
So, so I lived, and for a long time, I lived and breathed by that first step. Like, I just blow by you, I go to the cup, score. You know what I'm saying? And then my game had to transcend that, because I realized after a while, people started catching up with me. Like, I was before my time, but then people started catching up. Like, I can remember one day playing at the Y, when you was out there, chasing some other people, and all of a sudden you locking me down. And I'm like, hold up, what happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, yesterday I was going by, and now today you're locking me down. Yeah, so I got to figure out something to do, because this one step is no longer getting it done. I got to figure out something else. So the game just evolve as you continue to play. You figure out what else works. My spin move, whatever the case may be, I gotta pull something out of the hat, because they understand what's in my bag of tricks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that. That's true. That's true, man. That's a dope thing about being around here, like on the shore growing up, man. I mean, you could always find a good run. I mean, back then, whether it was Iowa, whether it was a Y, whether it was around the circle on Clay Street. I mean, it was. Hey, and even as we got in high school, now, I don't know if you remember this, we used to drive all the way to Chestertown. Remember, we used to go to Chestertown Monday night. And we used to drive. We would drive to Chestertown just for a run. Me and you. It might just be me and you, maybe one more person, maybe one, but it's always me and you on Monday night. I never forget we go holler at Gary. So talk to me a little bit. What do you remember about going into high school and about JV? Did you feel like, your ninth grade year, JV was going to be pretty easy? Did you feel like, you guys, had a good opportunity to be good? Just talk a little bit about ninth grade.
Let me tell you, man, I went into ninth grade thinking I'm the man. I'm going to kill it. Right?
I'll tell you what. That's how you supposed to be.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I finally get my chance to get on the hardwood. I'm getting ready to kill it out here. You know what I mean? But like I shared with you earlier, I hadn't really played a lot of organized ball. Some games here and there, but nothing consistent. So my idea of what basketball was pickup games. And pickup and organized ball are two totally different things. You know what I mean? You could be a monster in pickup ball and not know what you're doing in organized ball, because you got to be a thinker. It's a strategic game. You know what I mean? So I came in with a big head, like, I'm getting ready to kill it. I'm the best thing out here. I'm getting ready to murder. And when I hit the floor, and I think it was me, Cheyenne, Corey, you know what I mean?
Corey Butler,
Corey Butler, and then it might have been Brandon and Port. We was out there hooping.
Port on her now.
Yeah, we was out there hooping, and it was like no direction. You know what I'm saying? We had no direction. We were just out there just running wild, running wild. You know what I mean? So my idea of what I thought was getting ready to happen and what actually happened was two different things. But I think my freshman year, we might have won a handful of games. You know what I mean? And it was, we got a lot of blowouts. It was rough. You know what I'm saying? It was rough. So.
Who was Frank y'all coach? Who coached you ninth grade? Was it Frank?
Frank.
Who's the coach?
I can't even remember who coached ninth grade.
I can't remember either.
Somebody might put it in the chat
because
I can't remember.
Yeah, somebody remember. I see Pork on here. What's up, Pork? You might put it in here, but cool. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't check on that, but we'll get to that. But yeah, I definitely see what you mean. So obviously, well, I ain't gonna say obviously because maybe you didn't know, but I know at least I knew. You know, when I came in as a freshman and you were in 10th grade as a sophomore, I knew it wasn't no way you was gonna be on JV.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you knew because I just knew I'm looking at the numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You see what's about to happen.
I'm saying what's about to happen. I'm saying he's too good.
Who got next?
Who got next? Right? Because you were too good to still be on JV. So I knew that you was gonna be on varsity. So talk about that experience because I know at times it might have got tough because you were on a senior dominated team. Y'all was first. Y'all won the Bayside that year with Bonke and Darrell and Rousey. Yeah. Brandon Potter, y'all had some great guys. They had had Coach Heyman there, then Buck Miller took over. So you guys had it was like a kind of a helter-skelter season, but you guys still ended up in first place. And I know it was a lot of learning experience for you, playing some games, not playing some games. So just talk about that experience, your sophomore year being on varsity and what you took from that.
Yeah, man, you know that experience was a blessing and a curse. I'm grateful for that opportunity. Like you said, I knew going into tryouts that sophomore year that I was going to be on varsity. One, because Heyman had already told my mom. He said, "Look, Casey going to be on varsity because I need him to step up. My whole team is full of seniors. He's a sophomore. After they leave, who else going to take over, right?" So I knew going into it that was going to be the case. But even in tryouts and practice, he treated me just like I wasn't gonna make it. He was, Heyman was on. I can remember like the first or second day of tryouts, right? And they split us up, JV on one side, varsity trials on the other, and we did a scrimmage. And we scrimmaging, you know what I mean? And I'm killing, like I'm killing. And because he put me on the second team against the varsity, so I'm killing. And he put Heyman brought me in the office and Soup in the office at the same time because he did his 2x2 to tell us what our talent, what our skill set was, we need to work on. So he bring us in there, and I'm thinking like, man, I just killed it. And
I'm good. I killed.
He was telling Soup, your ball control is this and that and third. And then he get to me, and he's like, you can't shoot. You need to work on your jumper. Just like that, raw to the point. Boom. You need to work on your jumper. He was like, you want to play for me? You need to be able to shoot from anywhere on the floor. So you need to work on your shot. He said, and I looked at him, I said, well, I scored all the points for my team, and he was like, yeah, but how many shots did you take? And I'm like, do it matter? I just dropped like 10 points in the scrimmage, and even Soup was next to me, was like, Coach, Casey was killing it. You know what I mean? and Hayden was like, nah. He was like, nah. You took 30 shots to make 10 points. That don't work. You know what I mean? So you need to work on that. So that was something that I was grateful for because he was pouring into me. I don't think my JV year, the coaching really didn't coach me. You know what I mean?
Y'all were just going. Yeah.
We were just playing. You know what I'm saying? Not to say they weren't coaching, but they weren't coaching me. I didn't learn anything my freshman year. I didn't learn until I got to my sophomore year. And that was a rough experience to learn. Heyman, though, when I got on there, Heyman would bring me in. I was the first one off the bench every game. He would put me in 6 men off the bench. Because like you said, they was killing Bonk and Soup and Rousey and Miller. And they was crushing. So by the time I got in, they was already up 15-20. I get in, play 2 or 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Just to get that experience because Heyman understood Casey needs to really get this experience because he's green. He don't know anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I can remember like the first couple of games, I get in and I shoot that dead air ball because I was intimidated because I knew he was watching me because he told me I couldn't shoot. You know what I'm saying? So I was hesitant to shoot the rock. My confidence was kind of shot a little bit. I was hesitant to shoot the rock and I was learning. So that experience for me was great. And then I can remember, I think we was playing Queen Anne and I came off the bench and I dropped like 14 to 15 on them. And I could have had more than that, but I can remember I caught fire. Like I came off the bench and I put up that first shot, I hit, put up the second shot, hit. And the next thing I know, I'm out there just in the zone. You know what I mean? And we had another player on our team who didn't get much burn. And I was trying to get him the ball. He was like, get him the rock. I can't remember his name. He's from the Bethany house. Like, get him the ball, pass him the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I did that, for a couple of plays, but I can remember, I think Bunk was the leading scorer that day. And I think I was like 1 or 2 points behind him. And I could have been the leading scorer that game if I had kept shooting, but I passed it. But it was a real learning experience for me, man. Real learning experience.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do you one better. It was 16 you scored against Queen Anne. So you even played better than you thought. So 16, and that was your high that year. That was a good year. But like you said, that experience, like Heyman knew that not only did he need you for that year, but he know that Easton program and him, because I know he didn't coach that year, but thinking that he needs you more importantly the next year. You know what I mean? Yep. Your junior year, because he knew that all those seniors are going to be gone, and that he got a lot of young guys that's going to be going. And I'll say this, man, I'm jealous of that because I didn't get to play for Heyman. You know what I mean? So that bluntness, like telling me, okay, like you said he told you need to shoot better, even though you dropped 10. I needed that. You know what I'm saying? And no diss to, I mean, we played three great people, and good coaches, but the Heyman was just different. You know what I mean? So you get an experience that I'm sure, it was something. How did you guys? One thing about that year, man, that I've got to applaud you guys for is that you guys had to change where Heyman stopped coaching and Buck Miller took over, and we'll get to more Buck Miller next season when we talk about that next year. But how'd you guys not miss a beat? Because Heyman was one of the, he was rah, he was getting on you. Buck Miller was laid back. So how did you guys continue to win games? Was it more the leadership of Bunk and Darrell and Rousey, or just talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, it was the leadership of Bunk, Soup, Rousey, Miller. Those guys had played with Heyman for some time now, so they understood what it took to win. Bunk had been playing since his freshman, sophomore year when he knew exactly what was expected. You know what I'm saying? And Soup the same way. Those guys had a determination. They was like, look, the foundation has been laid. We know how to win. We've seen the winning structure. This is what we got to do to win. You know what I mean? And so it was a privilege to come up behind them because I was beyond mad when Heyman left for whatever reason. I was beyond mad because I'm like, look, man, you brought me up here for all this. I could have stayed down on JV and I could have been, with people I knew crushing it, but instead you bring me up here to lead me, but I was grateful to have that leadership of them because, they would say, Casey, look, do this, do that. Even in practice, work on this, do that. I might not have, once Heyman left, of course, I didn't get in the game like I was when he was there because Miller, like you said, was a little laid back. Buck was a little laid back, and really the Bunk and Soup and them was calling the shot. They were substituting people in and out. You know what I mean? Like, yo, come on. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew what the deal was. You know what I'm saying? So they was playing coaching. Yeah, they was playing coaching from the sideline, and I could do nothing but respect it because these guys had been here before. You know what I mean? So all I could do was learn. And I think I remember one game we was down, I believe, Hurlock. It was a day game. Might have been on a Saturday. We was down at Hurlock.
Yeah, it was Saturday.
Yeah, that was the game after I scored Queen Anne. I dropped the 16 that you just mentioned, right? We get down to Hurlock, and I can remember Travis coming up to me like, yo, Casey, they getting ready to put you in because you just killed it the other night. Whatever you do, just shoot. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm excited. I'm like, oh, I'm getting ready to get in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just like he said, second half, I believe they put me in the game, and I had a wide open shot. But instead of taking a shot, Bunk was coming down the lane, right? And since Bunk was coming down the lane, I hit Bunk with the pass, but he wasn't paying attention because he wanted me to shoot. And so the ball hit Bunk in the back of the head, ball went out of bounds, and come back out. I sat back down.
Yeah, you gonna say that?
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, no, I did the right play. Bunk wasn't paying attention. You know what I mean? But nobody told me like, yo, Casey, you in the shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Miller told me, but the coach didn't tell me that. So I'm just trying to play the right, you know what I'm saying, the right move. I made one mistake and come sit back down. So
yeah. I know what you mean. It's all good. But definitely, and it's funny you mentioned that about the player coaching because I remember sitting watching that year, and I said to myself, I said, man, they got to be helping Coach Miller out a little bit, man, because it just wasn't no way. And as I seen the following year, it just wasn't no way. But and another thing you mentioned, and I'll get to the next year, is that I don't know if even you remember, but also on that team, remember Tay kind of did what you said. Remember Tay was on varsity for a little bit, but Tay was like Tay Rowers. But remember he was like, if y'all ain't gonna play me, I'm gonna go back down, and he came back down and played with us too. So it's funny you mentioned that because I remember our 10th grade, my 10th grade year, your 11th grade year, I kind of had that same thought at first too. But going to your junior year, now obviously sophomore year you kind of knew what it was. Like you said, it was a senior-dominated team. Like you say, y'all had a great year, Bayside champs. I think y'all lost was it third round of playoffs that year, third round of playoffs. But you knew going into your junior year, okay, it's my time. Like you know what I'm saying? It's my time. It's a young team, but I got the most experience on here, and it's going to go through you. So, how did you prepare during the summer? I always ask people this. Pretty much every guest that played ball. What did you do during the summer to get ready for your junior year?
I played ball. I played ball that summer. I can remember thinking like, and having conversations with Bonk and Miller, Soup, like, yo, tell me what I need to do, because once y'all go, we got 2 years of just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? There's really no single leadership on this team. You know what I mean?
Right, none.
What do we do? You know what I'm saying? So I spent countless hours just thinking about it, plotting on how to do this and how to do that, team structure. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you still got to play the games. You know what I'm saying? You still got to play the games. Yeah. And basketball is a mental game more than anything. And a lot of people probably didn't know, a handful of close friends, but I was dealing with some medical issues too at the time. So going every game would kind of like wear me out. You know what I mean? And I can remember after a game, I would just go to sleep and be asleep for just days on end. I would even miss some of the first week of school. Like if our game was on a Friday, I might miss that Monday because I'd just be sick. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So trying to battle those physical things that I was dealing with, along with just trying to keep my mind on basketball, keep my grades up so I could, do stuff beyond high school. It was just a lot. So it was a challenge going into that 11th grade year to be like, okay, how do I keep all of this together? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
How long did that last?
The medical condition? Yeah. Well, it started actually in middle school. It was called chronic fatigue. And it was not like, I don't know those who watch now who went to middle school with me in that year. I think it was like my 7th grade year. I was out for months. I was out for months. And everybody was like, what happened to Casey? Did he die? Like, what happened to him? I was out for months. And I was able to, my mom took me to John Hopkins to get some treatment, and they figured out what was wrong with me. And so they was able to teach me some things to deal with, what I was dealing with, and able to bounce back. So I was dealing with it from middle school. So that's also another thing that kept me from playing sports, because my dad was concerned about me getting hurt or, becoming sick. But in high school, he just let me do my thing. But it was a challenge, man. Even now, I still deal with some issues with that. Like I overexert myself. I get tired. I got to sit down or whatever. But I'm blessed. As long as the Lord puts oxygen in my lungs, I'm gonna go out there and keep going with what I'm gonna do. Yeah. So
that's good, man. I always tell people, man, you never know what everybody's dealing with. You know what I mean?
You never know,
kids,
man.
You know what I mean? Like I said, we rode to every game together, and like you said, I never knew that. So man. So yeah, I'm glad things are better though, and definitely improved, because like I said, as we went on, your numbers got steadily better and better. I want to talk about the first game. Do you remember the first game of the season? Your 11th grade year, my 10th grade, our first game. You remember who we played?
Nah, I don't remember.
Yeah, it was one of our. We probably had 2 ugly games that year, maybe 3. I'll say 2 ugly games and probably three losses that we definitely shouldn't have had like that.
Yeah.
Right. But the first game we played Bennett at home. I'll never forget, we played Bennett, and it was the lowest scored game ever. Like, it was the lowest scoring game ever, bro. Like, I remember at the half, it was like 16-16. Like, no one could just make nothing. No one could make nothing. So we ended up losing that game 41-33.
Wow.
So low scoring. 41-33, bro. And me and you, we scored that. So we could bomb for way more, terrible. So it was just one thing. I think it was just a lot of jitters and just not knowing and stuff like that. So then the first game, because this is the thing, because then the next game we go play North Carolina in North Carolina, right?
I remember
and
that.
North Carolina was way better than that. And they had at the time Brandon Felder,
Big boys. They like the three big boys on it.
Yeah, Jackson. They had the big boy Sean Brown. They
big
had
trees on it.
And trees. And they jumped out 10-0 on us. We come back 10-9, and the whole game is back and forth. We only lost by a few. So that's why I say like that first game was literally just that. You know what I mean? So, but what do you remember about that year? You know, just in the beginning, as far as you know, what you thought we could be. You know, how we were playing. You know, Coach, just talk a little bit just about you know your expectations. You know, with that team, because again, you were the only returning player, and the only senior we had was Pito, but Pito didn't. That was his first year of ball, and he had some great games for us too.
Yeah.
But that was his first year of ball. So just talk a little bit about that team. Port was on that team too. I was talking to him earlier about it.
Yeah, we was young.
Mm-hmm.
Not only was we young, but we was small. You know what I'm saying? We were
small,
yeah. and
small,
because I remember, you know, my ninth grade year, I was smaller than Pork. Like Pork sent me a picture. We was hooping together, and I was smaller than Pork. So I didn't get a growth spurt to like my sophomore year going into my junior year. That's when I kind of shot up and got bigger. But I was awkward. I didn't really know how to deal with my body because I grew so fast, so quick. You know what I mean? And we were small.
Yeah.
Pito was our big man down there. You know, Pito, Dixon, you know, y'all was the big men. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, and me, and I really, you know, I didn't know how to handle the big man position. Nobody ever taught me how to handle my body down there, so I felt uncomfortable. So every chance I get, I'm sneaking out to the top of the key because I don't want to be down there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we was young, and then I was young. And trying to figure out how to work together because, like I said, organized ball is different, right? We played with each other on different levels at different times. And that's one of the things I wish I had went back to JV my sophomore year. I wish I did, and I wish I didn't for a variety of reasons. But one reason I wish I went back is because when y'all came in as freshmen and me being a sophomore there, we could have had that opportunity to really gel and form our own team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we was trying to form a team when I, you know, in my junior year, and by that time it's like just challenging.
Yeah,
so that first game we was fumbling through, just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was. And Crick is on here now too, Casey. She said, Casey, we love you.
I love you too, Cricket. That's my girl. That's my girl.
Yeah. Well, she go back P City. She was getting on me for being late, but we was on here, Cricket. We was on here.
We was here.
But Real Sports, we was here. Real Sports Fan Podcast, and we talking to Casey Roberts. We going down the timeline here right now. We talking about high school, the career, and what we did together. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So like I said, first game Bennett we lose. Second game we lose at Denton, and I dislocated my finger that game. I don't know if you remember. I didn't finish that game. So the next game, we finally got on track, and I kind of remember saying, okay, now this is what we can look like and we can go. Do you remember who our first win came against that year? I know I put you on the spot with a lot of
you put me on the spot. The first game.
So we went to Kent County, got our first win.
Okay.
Went to Kent County and got our first win. I had 25, and you had 21. And I remember after the game, like, okay, now this, I can see this, how we can make this work with us, and we can spread it around and go. Now, from there, we go into the winter break 1-4, because I remember, and this is not even nothing I looked at, honestly, I just remember this, is that we were supposed to play in the Slam Dunk to the Beach tournament, really based off of what y'all did the year before.
Yeah.
Everybody did. But they didn't want us to go because they wanted us to practice and get experience. But really, looking back, that was the best experience we could have got.
We should have went.
That was the best.
We should have went.
Yep. So we could have got so much experience off of that.
Yeah, man. Those extra couple of games playing against some top-notch teams, we could have learned from that. You know, instead of trying to learn in our division or our conference, learning outside, you know what I mean, was the best learning experience. Playing against us in practice, we play against each other all the time. That ain't gonna be no good. So that's definitely one that I wish they had. Learning experience. I wish they had let us go to. But we come out the break. So like I said, we won 4. We young, and we ain't got nothing to lose. So we come out the break, and
I'm laughing, man, because one thing about us, man, me, you, Cabby, we love North Dorchester. I don't know what it was.
We like
North Dorchester, bro.
Let me tell you,
we would light North Dorchester up. Go ahead.
Let me tell you why it was something about North Dorchester. It's because I had a personal situation at North Dorchester.
Oh yeah,
right?
I do. I didn't want to speak on it.
So I had a personal situation going on. You know what I'm saying? So out of all the teams, we could lose to North Dorchester. I don't care if we lose to North Dorchester and St. Michael's. Can't lose that.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I'm saying? So we going to North Dorchester with a chip on our shoulder, because I can remember, saying, look, fellas, I don't care what we do tonight, we not losing to these boys. You know what I mean? And we come out hooping. We come out hooping.
Yeah, hooping. We came out hooping. And what's crazy about that is I can remember, because again, we rode to the games together, so we talked about a lot. And I can remember us having that conversation about North Dorchester, that, look, we ain't losing to them. Like, we might have been struggling so far, but we ain't losing to them for a number of reasons. And that's why throughout our career, we might have had a couple of tough losses, and we'll talk about a couple of them, but we didn't lose to North Dorchester. We didn't lose to St. Michael.
Yes, sir.
We didn't lose to them. We didn't lose to them. But you came out, man, on fire. You know what I'm saying? You dropped which you might consider your best game, and I do want to ask you that when we get done, what you consider your best game. You had 26 points, 10 rebounds, shot 13 or 15 from the foul line. You made them free throws count. You know,
was that the home game?
That was in ND.
That was there.
But I know what you're thinking about. That's the following year. We're gonna get to that.
Okay.
That's why I said you used to like North Dorchester up.
I loved it.
You loved it. But this one was there because just to take you back for a second, that was a game. Honestly, I was pissed in the first half because Coach Buck Miller, he wanted to try something, so he brought me off the bench that game. But so what he did was, I don't know if you remember, there used to be me, you, Cabby, Tay, and then it'd be Dixon or Chris.
Right.
But that game, he started Tay, and Tay had a great game. He had 8 assists off like 2 turnovers. You and Cabby on the wings, and Dixon and Barnett, down low, which makes sense, right? You know what I'm saying? But I was like, look, and I wasn't even that pissed I didn't start, but he didn't play me in the first half. I think he kind of forgot. He was trying to see what worked. And I remember after the game, I was like, look, I'm like, you can send me back down to JV. You know what I mean? If you're going to be like that. But I got so pissed in the second half, I came out and I dropped like 13. I didn't even shoot no threes. I was just mad. I just going to the bucket. But
I remember
you had 26 and 10. And I think that kind of started things for us that we was kind of like, all right, yo, we better than what our record is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's go. So, do you remember anything about that game, that 26 and 10 dropping that? Any specifics from that?
I can remember being hackled by the dude in the corner with the banner.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I think there was Sterling them dead. There was man. Yo, he would hackle me all. They would push me. They would push it intentionally into him so he could grab us.
They had the one side.
The one side. You know what I'm saying? So I can remember him just talking and yelling, and it'd be so loud in there. But like you said, personal. It's like, listen, I'm gonna go in here, and I don't care if I got to score all the points. We will not lose this game. And now that you bring it back to my remembrance, I can remember you sitting on the bench and coming out of halftime. You like, yo, what am I sitting here for? You know what I'm saying? And then when you got in, it was like you was a man possessed. And I can remember you going to I can remember you going to the bucket and you just was like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, feed him, just keep going back until he, you know what I'm saying? Because that's one thing we did. Whoever had the high hand that night, just keep giving them the rock.
Yeah, we did. What I'm saying? We did. Yeah,
just
we
keep
did
giving them the rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can remember that vividly. Like whatever I got to do to make this game happen, we're gonna come out of here victorious. And it's funny because when you playing, like I never really counted my points as I'm doing whatever. I'm just playing.
You
know
what
I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I'm just going. So and even at the end of the game, I never really went to the stat board to like how much did I drop. I just played the game. Did we win or we lost? You know what I mean? And so to hear that I had 26 and 10 rebounds, that's pretty good. I did all right that game. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely balled out, man. And while I'm thinking about it, my cousin Marlissa, one of the twins. I know you've seen her while she said hey to her god brother. Yeah.
What's up?
She on her, she can hear you. Yeah, she can hear you. But yeah, man. So then We lost. I can't remember who we lost to, but I know at a point of the season, right, we were, and I'll find in a second, we were 2-6. I'll never forget it. We were 2-6, but we ended up winning 8 of our last 12. So because we finished 10-10, and looking back now as I got older, looking back at this, because I used to look at that season like, man, we weren't bad, you know what I mean, but we weren't that good. We were, 10-10 obviously is average, but honestly, we were even a little bit better than that. And the reason I say that is because even if you go to the North standings, even though we were 10-10, we were, I think, 4th or 5th in the conference. You know what I mean? We weren't the worst team. We still had like 5 teams under us. Just right. That's how. So we had to get 10 wins in the North because a lot of our teams, our loss came to the South. We were actually like 10-6 against the North. So we actually played good against them. But, you know what I mean? But I do want to hit on a couple more specifics about that season. So we were 2-6, and then we got on a streak, and we beat Kent Island. Mm-hmm. Beat AJ and them twice. We beat Hurlock. That was a good game. Me and Cavi had. I'll get into that later. But I got to talk about Cambridge.
Ooh,
you remember that year we came?
Oh my goodness! At home, right? I remember that.
Woo!
I remember that.
Yo, at home, and Big War. I'm gonna have Big War here this year. Shout out to Big War because every time War posts up, he always want to post the newspaper clipping when I'm like this and he like this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, man. I said you always want to post that, but you know what though? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was getting ready to say that game was the first time we played somebody that big. You know, that knew what they was doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because War not only was he big, but he knew how to play the game. He knew what he was doing.
He knew how to play.
Yeah.
He knew how to play.
You know what I'm saying? He knew what he was doing. So our whole game was like, I go to the cup, he toss it, you go to the cup. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we got to shoot all threes down because we can't go to the cup.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly. And thinking about it now, and I know how we got to that 2-6 too, because and that's part of the reason we ended up losing to Cambridge like that down the road. I'm gonna tell you why real quick. So we lost to Mardella, and I remember people, but see Mardella, people forgot they had Craig Warren,
they had Craig,
and they had Jason Cotton as well. I don't know if you remember him. Both of them. So it was basically both of them, and they did a lot of the scoring, but they also had another guy that wasn't bad. We lost to them by 2, and then we lost before that blowout loss to Cambridge at home. I don't know if you remember, but we played Cambridge real tight in Cambridge. We only lost by 9 points in Cambridge. And that's, again, this is your junior year, my sophomore year. We went down there with Big War now. I had 17 and you and Cavi both had 15 apiece, and we only lost by 9. So I think what happened is, bro, I think since it was that close and we were in Cambridge, I feel like we felt like, okay, well, they coming to our home now. Yeah, I feel like we got a little big-headed. And I remember I even scored the first play of the game. We was up 2-0. We run down, let's go. And after that, it got ugly.
Let the dogs out on us,
man. So, the dogs out on it, man. It was so embarrassing, man. People started leaving the ring.
Yeah, people left for the first half. You know what? You know what's crazy is growing up in Easton. The Easton Cambridge game is the biggest game of the year. The gym is packed. You got to get there early. It's packed, right? You got to get there before the JV game starts, because once it happens, you're not getting in. The cops are out there locking the doors down. It's packed, right? And so, like you said, I can remember going down. I remember going down to Cambridge that season, going down there and hooping, and that's us doing good, and coming off like, man, we almost had them, and Cambridge was a rough place to play. It was a rough place to play.
It was,
The crowd was in it. It was rough. So we had a big hit when they came down to us. Like, man, we got this. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like you said, I remember coming out, scoring the first bucket. Like, okay, let's get this together. It's our house. Crowd going off. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing I know, it's Block Fest, and
that's how it was. That's how it went. But another thing that year, we had 2 of the. Even though we didn't win them, man, I wish somebody had them on tape, because I like to say them, man. We had 2 of the greatest games. And I don't mean for me individually, because I didn't play good, but 2 of the greatest games against Colonel. We played both games. We lost to Colonel by a total of 6 points. We lost to Colonel by 3 points each game. Me and Flex talked about it. With both games. First time at home, we came out, and again, that's another game where we played bad against some of the bad teams, but we played good against the teams that are good because they were better than us, but we were nip and tuck the whole way. And I remember that game at home, Kevin came out real hot. You had a good game, and then on the road down there, you had 20, but we didn't help you out, and we ended up losing by 3. I had a heave at the end or something like that. So those games were special. Any other, did those games stick out to you, or any other game from that year stick out to you at all?
No, but like you said, those 2 games we should have won. And I don't care what nobody says. Fletcher is the worst player to play against ever, because all he would do was talk. I mean, that brother would talk.
He's still talking. He's still talking, bro.
But the thing was this: he would talk and get you all rattled while he out there killing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's smooth with it, and he talking. He talking the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can remember that because I can remember sitting my sophomore year watching them playing. You know, like, man, they hooping.
Yeah.
So you know, and they was young then, so they had a more seasoned team. Yeah, while we was coming up, they was more experienced, so they had that experience, you know, to like how to stay in the game. You know what I mean? How to win at the end. We didn't really have that experience. We was just going at it.
Yeah.
And they had a great coach too.
They did. I gotta say, Merrill Morgan. I mean, one of the best ever did it. And then, like you said, they had a senior dominated team they had Fletch and they had Big Rodney. You know, down there too. Big Rodney. Glad they had Trey Avery. You know what I mean? So before I get off your junior year, then we had the 2 battles against St. Michael's. And I always tell people, because you know, Easton ended up losing St. Michael's the year after I graduated. D. Ricks on here, sorry D, but D. Ricks and Mike's senior year. But when we played them, man, when Hard was on there, it was tough. Like we had to be we had to be on our Grizzly, and I will say, because this is one of the little stats I want to give you, a little trivia, and I'll give it to you now since we talked about that. When we went to St. Michael's, we ended up beating them by 8 at home, and I think down St. Michael's we ended up beating them by like maybe 7 or 9, something like that. But that game we combined, it should have been for 51, but I had a travel that I don't know what I was doing, but it was 40. We combined for 40. We combined for 49 points. Me and you. So I say that to say that me and you went into that game knowing, okay, it's time. You know, we can't lose this one. Like we ain't that good, but we not lose that. So do you remember anything about those 2 St. Michael's games?
Pride. I remember us going Pride because I don't know if it was that year or the senior year where a lot of the guys from Easton went down to St. Michael's to play. You know, like you said, Jahari, Bubbles. You know, they went down there to play, and it's like, you know, I was a bit, first of all, I was heartbroken, especially Jahari. Like, man, I wanted to play with him. I felt as though if him and I had played together, you know, who knows what could have happened. You know what I'm saying? Because Jahari was just an athlete. He could just do whatever, right? Yeah. So
I think he led the baseline in scoring that year, I think.
Yeah, I mean, because the boy was just jumping out the gym. You know what I mean? He was shooting. He was just a hustler. He would just play all games, just nonstop. Like he had a different level. Yeah. So I knew going into it, like we go down here, you know the coach is gonna be yelling and fussing, and you know what I'm saying. So we gotta just play ball. You know what I mean? We gotta play ball. And I can remember, you know, getting off. I can remember sitting in the locker room, and you know, us two sitting there like, yo, we gotta hoop, because you know they're getting ready to bring it. You know, not only did they got something to prove, the coach got something to prove. We can't leave out of here with this L. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We can't lose that one.
No, we just buckled. Same thing senior year. They even had an even bigger chip on their shoulder senior year.
Sure did.
Listen, and I can remember that senior year. I don't know. Somebody put the ball up, and Jahari came over, jumped over the whole crowd, and tried to bang on like 3 or 4 people. I said, "Man, Jahari getting ready to show off out here." You know what I'm saying? Like this boy getting ready to show off. You know, so it's like,
man, you're right. You're right too, though, man. Because I tell people too. Can you imagine if Jahari was with us just one of those years?
Just one. If he had been, because he would have changed the game. Not only was he fearless, you know what I'm saying, but his athletic ability and his ability to just do whatever you need him to do. He could have played big if we needed to. I mean, Jahari just would have played any position and would have dominated. You know what I'm saying? So,
He was ridiculous. I got a couple of comments about Jahari. Monet on here, she said, shout out to Jahari. That's true. And Gary said the same thing. Oh yeah, cricket. She cricket. She commented, so we ain't talking about Pokemon. They must have smoked us. Actually, they did smoke us that
Oh, they
year.
did. They
They
ate
beat
us
us.
up.
They beat us 87-37. I never forget. Me and Casey, we had a good game, and that was it. I remember that. I got it right in my phone.
We the only one that scored. Like, what happened? We got ate up.
It was like five people to score, but me and you had the most. But yeah, that was a bad guy. I never forget. I had Todd Northam from Pokemon. You gotta check that one out too. I had him on here, and I never forget. You might not remember this. First play of the game, somebody missed it on his team. He came up first play of the game. Boom! I said, oh Lord, it's gonna be a long night. It's gonna be a long night. You know what I'm saying? But anyway,
yeah.
So like I said, man, like looking back at your junior year, my sophomore year, I think that what we accomplished, man, was good. You know what I mean? And I want to compare the two, and after we get done. But I think what we accomplished, is definitely something to keep our heads up because, again, we were 2-6 at one point, and to finish 10-10, and still be basically 4th or 5th in the North. I think the only teams better was Colonel, North Carolina, and obviously Cambridge. So I think we were the 4th. Everybody else was behind us. So we did a lot. We lost to Stephen Decatur in the playoffs. I had a bad game. Like I said, you and Cabby.
That's a game we could have won. That's a game we could have won.
Okay. Remember they moved Turtle and Twan up for that game. Yep. They came and they played good in the playoffs. I just didn't bring it there. That was in Decatur. But you got accomplished, man. I recognize, I should say, for you made second team as a junior, which is a great accomplishment. So I remember going into being that you made second team. I remember, wanting you to be first team the next year, and I knew to do that we had to win. We had to win more. You know what I mean? We had to win more. Yeah, we had to win more. So, talk a little bit about just your thoughts, going into your senior year and the second team accomplishment, that you got your junior year. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I didn't even know I made second team my junior year. I don't think I knew that. So thank you for letting me know that. But I knew going into the senior year, like this is my last chance to do something, with the team. And I felt like we had a great chance to do that because we had jail coming to the end of the junior season. We had jail. Everybody knew their position, knew their role. You know what I mean? We was good, And then when we get into it, we got a different coach. You know what I mean? Some of the players didn't play. We got new players on the team. We're trying to make some adjustments. Yeah. It's like, here we go again. Like what, It was much different than, Bonky and them. They knew their players who was going to come with, every season. It's like for us, it's a crapshoot. We never know who's going to be on the team and who's not. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we just got to play with whatever we working with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So So we go into great point. You set it up perfect. I couldn't agree with you more. I always tell people that I don't think people understand, and me, you, and Cabby do, and a couple more people, but I played for 3 coaches in 3 years, right?
Yep.
And I mean, and you pretty much did too, because you had Heyman, Butler, and Coach Butler. So yeah, so it's tough, man. So we go into that year, your senior year, and like you said, love coach. You know what I mean? Had coach on, love coach, but it was just different. Like you said, the year before, with Buck Miller, me and you were the captains. He let us, like, even that same house game we talking about. He knew we had to do. He just let us go. Butler was more structured. But I understand what Butler was trying to do, because I tell people all the time that, and a lot of people don't agree with me, and maybe you will, maybe you won't, but even though I always consider my senior year the best team I played on, as far as record-wise, but my junior year, your senior year, I always say that was the deepest team I ever been on. And I think that was part of our problem, because think about what we had, bro. Between me, you, Cabby, Dixon, Barnett, we had Turtle, Twan, Donnie. We had Lance Hood. We had Colin Charles. Those guys wasn't even getting in. That's how deep. And I think I'm missing somebody too. So forgive me. But what do you think about how good you think that team could be? In the beginning of the year.
Yeah, man. Like you said, we was deep, and you could go down a list of players and put any 5 out there, and I'm saying we can bump. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful for Coach Butler. Coach Butler brought structure, I think, back to the team, because, like you said, you and me were the captains, and we were just out there running shot. Like, hey, you come on,
Mm-hmm.
let's do this at the third.
Yep.
You know, but when Butler came, he's like, look, we got structure. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. And like I said, I think that us being so deep kind of hurt us because he would play 10 players, and it's like, come on, you know what I mean? Why you playing so many people? You know, I can remember him pulling me out, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
we had those conversations. Yeah.
Like you pulling me out for what? Like, you need a breather. No, I don't. Let me.
I'm good.
Let me run ragged. Yeah, let me go. But you know, he was trying to establish a structure and what he wanted the program to look like. So I have all due respect for him and what he was doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Great point because he did, and I always tell people that I became a better all around player for because of two people, because of you and because of coach. And the reason I said it was you because I can remember the year before looking in the newspaper, and it wasn't just Casey Roberts 20 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 18 points, 9 rebounds. I mean, you always feel the stat sheet, so I knew that finally. You're like, I gotta do more. Cause I was scoring, but I wasn't rebounding, like I should. You know what I mean? And then Butler, I had to because I wasn't getting on the wing and being able to shoot the three and just going like I wanted to.
He put you on that block.
I had to find other. Yeah, he put me on the block. So I had to find other ways. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of times, unless the team was going man to man, I really didn't have that good of a game because in the zone I was just kind of, stationary. But I think what kind of happened, and let me get your perspective, it might have been fool's gold because we started off 3-0.
Yeah,
you remember?
Crushing.
First game we blew out St. Michael's.
Yeah.
Chris Barnett had a nice dunk. Shout out to the ball. I know you're gonna be on here watching. Second game we went down Kent County, blew Kent County out. Yeah. And then the third game was our test. We were like, okay, let's see how good we can be.
Was that North Carolina?
We played the third game. North Carolina.
I remember
North Carolina. And remember North Carolina now they went and got Maurice Jensen. Remember from Delaware.
Yes, sir.
They got the transfer. So they had Jensen, they had Elsley, and they had Big Sean Brown. I think Ron Ringo was a freshman at the point. They had some other big guys, whatnot. So that was our test, right?
Yep.
We beat them. We beat them.
Yeah. We looked good doing it. We played good.
Look good doing it. And the reason I say fool's gold because, like, take for instance that North Carolina game I just talked about, we won. You were our leading scorer with 14 points and 10 rebounds. And what I'm saying is 14 points is all it took. You had 14, Cavi had 13, Matt Blue had 13. The rest of us, me, Donnie, Twanter, we had 8 apiece. So what I'm saying is it was all around. Like we were so deep that a few people were here, but going forward, that stopped. You know what I'm saying? That stopped. So we played Cambridge, 4th game of the year, undefeated versus undefeated. I never forget 3-0 versus 3. My boy Big Ty, who works me out all the time. I remember him calling me that year. He said, and he thought we was gonna lose North Carolina. He said, "Y'all won." I said, "Yeah, we won." What you mean? And he was like, "Whoa, okay." So we both gonna be undefeated, when we playing each other. And I never forget that Friday, man, because nobody else had a game but us. It was just Eastern Cambridge.
Just us.
Yeah, I mean, so what do you remember about that game, man? Because it was a high intense game, great game. It was a classic. That's another game. If somehow got the tape, maybe y'all can let us know. But what you remember about that game?
First of all, the beginning of that, I remember the paper had us, not even at the top 3 in the North Bay side then. They had us like way down there. They didn't expect. So when we came out undefeated, it was in the paper like a shot. Like Easton's undefeated. What you mean? We expected to be undefeated. We hooping, right?
Right.
And then I can remember like Cambridge, like, okay, listen, if we beat them, we doing something.
We doing something.
And I don't really know what happened that game, but if memory serves me right, I played an awful game. Like, I don't think I played a very good game that game. I can remember, like, I even think I had the last shot and I missed it or something like that. But I'm like, I can remember that game. I think I fouled somebody when I should have and put somebody on the line to shoot foul shots. Like, I think my whole mental was just off that game. I don't know, maybe thinking about another Cambridge game, but if memory serves me right, I don't think I played very good that game.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have your best. Me and Cabby, we had our probably out the best games. That, but it was a lot of stuff. It wasn't just you. I mean, it was a lot of little stuff. We ended up losing that game by 7, but I don't even count that because I don't know if you remember at the end, but we were only down 3. and Cabbie fouled Mac for
that's what happened. I remember that.
And they let Shavar shoot all 4 free throws.
All 4,
Mac was supposed to shoot 2. Shavar supposed to shoot 2 for the tech because Cabbie got a tech. And then after that, that's when people just started going crazy. They were throwing stuff from the crowd. And they cut the game early.
I remember that.
Cut the game short. So like a minute
that's
left. So
I remember.
It's a lot. But that game, I always say though, if we could have won that game, that would have changed. Honestly, probably our careers. Probably our careers. You know what I'm saying?
It would have changed our confidence level. You know what I'm saying? Our confidence level would have been on a different level. We beat Cambridge that game. It would have been no stopping us because we who can beat us? Because for us, Cambridge was the pinnacle. If we can beat Cambridge, we can beat anybody. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And we were confident because Warren and them had left. They had Lee Jones was a sophomore. They had Shavar. Like I said, Matt was a senior. Mac and George. So we were confident. But but we lose that game. So then we got Colonel. And the thing about Colonel is funny. You talk about how you played bad against Cambridge. Because I played bad against Colonel. I swear I had probably 2 good games my whole career against Colonel. I no one helped you that game, and I might have had the Colonel games mixed up, but you had 20 against Colonel. And I don't know if you remember, but they had Dontrell Potter. Remember big Dontrell Potter? He was another transfer. There was a lot of transfers your senior year. They had North Carolina had Jensen. Colonel had Dontrell. It was everybody was transferring. Like I said to myself, them 2 didn't transfer. We wouldn't even have to worry about them 2 teams.
Yeah,
honestly, I ain't even being smart. Yeah, we would crush them. But I don't know if you remember, but like I said, you played great, had 20 plus, but you didn't get no help. And looking back at that game, I was looking at the paper the other day, and it made me mad looking at it because I didn't realize that because I scored like on the and one the first play of the game, and we actually were up 7 in the second quarter, and then from there, I think we ended up being up at the half by like 1, and then the second half we just came out flat.
And then out of gas.
It just kind of went from there. So we ended up finishing 4-2 before the winter break. So here we go again, coming out the winter break. Who we got? North Dorchester.
And I believe that was my birthday.
So thank you.
Yes,
so that's all I want to ask you. Do you consider that your greatest game as a high school player? Do you think that's your greatest game?
Yeah, I do. I don't know what I scored or what I did, but personally, the way I felt that game, I felt unstoppable. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I'm out here killing it because, again, I'm like, it's my birthday, and there's no way in the world. We was at home. We're at home that game, right?
Yeah, we at home that game.
I'm like, hey, bro, listen, y'all, Pat, we are not letting these boys come in here. And I even fouled out. I think I fouled out that game too. I'm like, I'm not.
You got good memory. 2 minutes left.
2 minutes left. I'm hooping, and when I fouled out, I was so upset because I can remember they had fouled me, and I'm on the foul line, and they yelling, you know what I'm saying? And I hit the first one, and I'm like, shut it up, you know what I'm saying? And then I hit the second one, and then I'm like, we winning, and then all of a sudden I make a dumb foul and get sat down with the last 2 minutes, and I'm like, oh come on, and
I remember that.
I'm sitting on the bench like, no, and all I could do was watch, but I was so grateful y'all held it down, y'all held it down, but like we cannot. And they started to creep back, and the crowd started to get into it. You know what I mean? It's like, here we go. I'm about to lose to them at home. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I remember that game.
I'm gonna have to send you a couple articles because I know you're not on Facebook, but I posted a couple of your articles on my story, so I'm gonna send them to you when we get done. But it said that, like you said, on your 18th birthday, that's what it was. You scored 25. You had 25. You had 25 points, 8 rebounds. You only missed 4 shots the whole game, and in the third quarter, you went 8 for 8 from the field, and you hit what you don't normally shoot, a 3. And it was a big 3. I don't know if you remember. Yeah, you tried to trick it. You was, and that's the one thing I respect about you, man. You was a mid-range guy, and you actually helped me with my mid-range because my junior, senior year especially, I was just mostly mid-range. But I remember that from you. You went 8 for 8, and I'll never forget that in the third quarter, and you went off, man. And like you said, we could not lose that game for you because you're right. You fouled out with 2 minutes. You fouled out with 2 minutes. Because I remember after you called out, okay, I was like, Casey, what you fouling for?
It wasn't even a good foul, man. It was like a dumb foul. I smacked somebody like.
Right. So I can remember that, but we weren't gonna let you lose. But that was another great game that me and you had. Like I said, you had 25 and 8. I had 18, 12 and 6. You know what I mean? So we kept us afloat that whole game, and we got contributions from other guys as well, man. So so at that point, this is why I want to talk, get your perspective on, because this is kind of where it goes downhill a little bit. So again, this is your senior year. We're 5-2. We never seen 5-2 the year before. So you know what I mean. So then we gonna keep rolling 5-2. But then what happened, man? We hit a snag. We end up losing from there 4 of our last 5. Yeah. And I'll tell you where it started. And again, I apologize because it's another game I didn't help you. Next game we played Ken Island. Uh-huh. And I'm gonna take the brunt of it. And AJ Gould, good friend of mine, he'll be on here too. We get together a lot.
Yeah.
I remember. I don't know if I ever told AJ this, but I don't know if you remember this conversation, but you talked about how the paper even had all these teams over us. Yep. And I remember one of the teams they had over us was Ken Island, right?
Was Ken Island.
This is funny now. And I can remember, at least I ain't gonna say you said. I said I can remember looking at you and be like, why they got Ken Island over us? We busted them twice last year.
Twice.
You know what I'm saying? Twice.
AJ must have ate his Wheaties over the summer or something though, because he came back. And the other dude, AJ came back.
That's what it was.
And I was
came back a monster.
A monster. He was big, he was strong, and he was hooping. He was on a mission. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And not only was he on a mission, but his team was structured. Like, them boys were structured.
They were structured.
I remember when at Ken Island, and I'm like, yo, we ripped them a new one last year. Like, yo, what happened?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And I can remember in the locker room, I'm yelling, throwing water bottles, like, what's going on? Like, we're losing to Ken Island. You know what I'm saying? It was a different ball game. Yeah, he came out.
It was different.
Rushing. Yeah,
he did.
So I can see now why they had him up in the paper.
Me too, and that's how it was, because I was looking at it, from a young perspective, an immature perspective. It's like, okay, they got the same team, we got the same team. We beat them last year, we should beat them. Not thinking like, okay, AJ put work in. Like those guys, they put him, Brian Taylor, those guys put work in. So AJ, you're right. We couldn't guard him. I think I tried to guard him. He was too strong for me.
Yeah.
Dixon did the best job on him because Dixon had the body.
Dixon had that body.
But AJ, man, we couldn't do nothing with him. So what ended up happening is we lose at them actually within that 4 to 5 games. I don't know how it went. Maybe had a snow or something in there, but we lost to them twice. We lost in Ken Island, and then at home we lost. At home, we came back at home. I will say that because me and Dixon played good. We came back, but then they still ended up beating us. We lost to and then we lost to Cambridge in Cambridge, and that's another look. I looked that one up and got mad because I always remember the score being that they blew us out in Cambridge. Right, home was close. I always knew they blew us out, but I didn't know that after 3 quarters they was only beating us by I think 5 points.
Yeah, we was in there.
After 3. We was in there whole time. It was 50 to 45. So we come out in the 4th quarter, they go on a 15-0 run. So again, that's another game we could have won. So we lose.
But you know what's crazy about that game though? You know what's crazy about that game? I can remember Richard coming in there that game like, look, fellas, y'all got this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, y'all, this is what y'all got to do, because he had coached a lot of them for AAU, so he knew. He was like, Richard came in there, he was like, look, fellas, y'all got this one, X, Y, and Z. And we came out and didn't execute. We just did not execute. We did not execute.
We did.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember that vividly. I remember him coming in there like, yo, y'all got this one. All y'all got to do is this. You know what I mean? Keep playing D, keep rebounding, keep doing X, Y, and Z. Yep. And we just fell flat. We just didn't. Then once we got down 10-15, we just put our heads down and it was like, it's a wrap.
That was it.
No coming back.
That was the only bad part. Yeah, that was the only bad part with us a lot of times. When we got down a lot of times, we put our head down. We were too tough on each other. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Double digits because
pointing fingers.
Because I don't know if you remember too. Right. And I don't know if you remember also is that we had to go into the back of the locker room coming in. We didn't get to see JV because they had that fight in East.
They had that fight.
So we didn't even get to, they brought us in back in the locker room. But
we got escorted.
We got escorted. So it was a close game the whole game against Cambridge. And the 4th quarter, they just pulled away. So we lost both Ken Island games. We lost to Cambridge, and we lost to Snow Hill up in Snow Hill. And so that was our 4, and we won one, I think, which was Mardella. So then, I don't know if you remember. You remember what Butler did, which was, I think, the best thing he did that whole year. Do you remember what he did with you?
Yeah, he put me at the point.
Yep. Put you at the point. And I think that was so smart, man, because now it might have messed with, and I don't know, I never talked to Turtle. It might have messed with Turtle confidence because Turtle came out the lineup. But what it did was you were our best player. And Butler said this, coach said this. So since you were our best player, we needed to put the ball in your hands more because you were more than a scorer. You know what I mean, you were someone that facilitated, you know, you could rebound, you could pass, you could handle. So put you at the point, and then he brought Twan in as a starter. And the first game with that lineup, we played actually the first game of the line we played Hurlock. Obviously again we beat them. Me, you, and Cabby that game. We combined for like 64. That thing 62. I think that was the best thing we played. Scratch that. It wasn't that game. But we all three played good. And then after that, we ended up beating St. Michael's. That was the game you were talking about in St. Michael's. You and Cabby played good. Cabby brought us back in the fourth. And then we played Colonel, and Twan had 16 in the first half, and then he got hurt. And all five players played good. And I remember at the end they were saying that we had won 3 straight, and that's because you switched to the point and I got going scoring wise. Because see what that did was it kind of put us in position. Like now I know, okay, you're at the point. Now I know, okay, y'all. I mean, I need to score more a little bit now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it kind of put us, you know, in that box. So, but how was it for you at the? I never really asked you. Did you like playing the point? Were you mad that you had to play the point? I mean, I know you were all about the team, but how do you feel about that stretch? Because we ended up winning. We lost 4 or 5, but then we ended up winning 4 or 5 because of that.
Yeah, no, that was tough for me, man. Put me at the point. I didn't really know how to play the point guard, how to facilitate. I understood the game, you know, but I thought I didn't really understand how to play the point the way the point needed to be played. Like you said, Turtle was a man. Turtle had handles out of this world. You know what I mean? So for him, it was easy for him to maneuver, handle the ball, do whatever. But I think putting me at the point slowed us down. And then, like you said, put us into our rightful places, because then that opened the middle of the floor up for me. And then if they collapsed the middle of the floor, it left the wing wide open for you and Cabby to shoot that 3, which you had been really shooting earlier because it was so congested, right? So when I was at the point and they either, if they played a 2-3, I was going down the middle of the lane all day. And if they collapsed, I was kicking it out. Y'all was firing up. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was perfect. And if they played that 1-2-2, we dump it in the middle, they collapse back out to the wing. So as long as you and Cabby was hot and hitting that 3 ball, we was rolling. You know what I'm saying?
We was rolling.
And if they came out man to man, like I said, my first stat, I'm going by. So we was good. You know, tell teams realize my left hand wasn't that strong, and they would push me left, and I had to you know compensate for that. But I think that was one of the best moves Butler did to put me at the point, because it freed you up to be able to score. And once you scored, it motivated you to rebound, play defense. Once you got your motor going, nobody could. I remember Coach Manchild. Nobody could stop you. You was a beast out there. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, as long as they get their motor going, we good. You know what I mean? And it allowed for us to have even score. If you dropped 14, Cabby got 14, I got 12, whatever, and we hooping, rebounding, we okay. You know what I'm saying? It allowed Dixon and Chris Barnett to come to the corner, catch the ball, shoot. You know what I mean? It freed up a lot. It freed up a lot.
That and your unselfishness, man, that means a lot. I mean, even you saying that now, because I mean, having to make a change like that your senior year, a lot of people would have been like, "Nah, I ain't doing that." But like you said, and you might have think you didn't know how to run the point, but you did, because it was all about control, man. I mean, you could handle it. You know, it wasn't about fancy handles or nothing like that, but you could handle it good enough. And then other thing, you could see over the defense. So that was a problem a lot of times. Like smaller guards, you can't see over the defense, so you can see over the defense. And then plus, one of your best shots is at the top of the key.
Top of the key.
You're at the top of the key all day long. Yeah. So that kind so from there, that kind of transitioned to another point in game I want to get to is to where we make that streak, and then again we went from, remember this, we were 3-0, we were 5-2, then we ended up being 6-6. Now we're 9-6 after the streak. So now, record wise, not bad. Like you said, so 9-6. Now you think, okay, we at least gonna finish with 13, 14 wins. And I honestly, looking at those games, that's another conversation we get together probably. But we probably should have like 15 wins. But I think what happened was we had that bad loss to Queen Anne's. I think it was another week. We started feeling ourselves. We was on that street. And Queen Anne's coming in, and we was even up like 10 on them, like no big deal. And then, I think it was dude Dominique. He hit one shot, and I think Joe Pippen he hit a shot, and before you know it, it's a tight game. And when games get tight, palms get a little sweaty. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just a little different. Next thing you know, I missed the block out assignment. Dude got the rebound, offensive board. And I had a shot at the end and missed, and we lost. So then we had, I don't know if you remember, we had a back-to-back. So the next night we go to North Carolina, right? Do you remember the North Carolina game in North Carolina? That was a live game. You remember that game?
I remember that game. I remember. It was packed. It was packed in there.
Packed.
And
that was a great environment. Yeah,
it was a great environment. And I can remember my uncle was there that game because he lived down there in Denton, and he was like, "Nephew, what you gonna do for him tonight?" And I'm like, "Look, I'm just gonna do what I can. I can remember that the atmosphere was charged. You know what I'm saying? Even in warmups, it's like, we getting ready to come out here and playing in that game. It's like we had them. We right here. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We are right here. And I believe it came down to the end. We made some bad calls, some bad plays, but yeah.
Yeah. It did come down to the end. And honestly, I gotta apologize to y'all, to you. I've done it before because I never forget. I had Richard on the show. He didn't remember this, but I never forget. And I don't know, me and you mustn't watch that game together. You know what I mean? Because after Queen Anne's goal, I was pissed. I remember leaving out the locker room. I was mad. When you mess up, you mad with yourself. You don't need nobody to tell you. So I remember being mad, and I remember Turtle O'Donnell coming to me and like, yeah, Richard's like, say you ain't done nothing all year, and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yeah. So this is like, we on the bus getting ready to go to North Carolina, right? So that was the wrong time to tell me. So I'm like, okay, you ain't doing that. So right. Well, you know what? Well, show off in a different way, because what I did was I hardly shot that game, because what happened was, and it wasn't all because of that, but Cabby got hot. That was you and Cabby's best game together.
Yeah.
You and Cabby combined for 47 that game. That was the best game you two had together as a duo. He had 28, you had 19. Yeah. And they couldn't
stop him on that corner.
Oh man. Oh my God.
Corner. He was crushing from the corner. He was crushing.
He had 8 threes. that game. The only thing I did good that game was I got the ball in the middle, and I would pass it to the side, to the corner, to the wing where he was at. And because you was, remember, you tall, right? So you would get it at the top, throw it into me, and I would throw it out. So I had in my mind the whole time I was just gonna be in a passing mode. But what I messed up is at the end, it was time to hit the shot, and I hadn't been shooting all game. So instead of me just getting it and shooting like a regular mid-range pull-up, I kind of shot like a little one-leg floater, and it went out. We lost by 1 point.
For one. I remember that.
So I say all that to say that you take those 2 losses that we should have won, and again, you're looking at 13, 14 wins. You know what I mean? That year. You know what I'm saying? I see my boy Mac on here. What's up, Mac? We talking about where y'all got us earlier in that year. Cambridge over Easton. But yeah, so it was some tough losses that year. And then we go to the playoffs, and you and Matt Blue, y'all both had 14. Both had 7 boards. Bluesky was he was bored in that game.
He was
7 boards. Yeah. You had 7 assists as well. But again, that was my worst game as a high school guy. Seriously, it was. That was the only game I didn't score. I scored, but I didn't score a field goal. Only game I never scored a field goal in. And that was at home. You remember that playoff? It was at home, in our home. So I think another thing is like, okay, we beat them at home. They beat us in their home. So we think, all right, now we got them in the playoffs at our home. We can take care of this, but we just didn't
North Carolina again, right?
North Carolina. I'm sorry. Yeah, North Carolina. Yeah. And I felt bad, man, because I felt like some of the juniors were too worried about the following year and not worried about our seniors. Like you, Dixon, Chris, Blue, y'all didn't have it next year. But some of us, I felt like we went in there, and I just don't feel like, we bought it all. So we apologize to y'all for that, because I felt like that year should have ended a lot differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another great campaign for you. You go to the All-Star game, y'all win. I remember going there with you, and y'all win the All-Star game. You got
Yeah.
second team again, so you got back-to-back second team averaging around 14-7 that year. But I remember us talking that if we had won like we should have, you would have easily been first team. You know what I mean? Because your numbers and the winning alone, would have been that. You know what I'm saying? It definitely would have been that. But what else do you remember just about the end of that year? As far as playoffs and your career and everything.
Yeah, I remember that was a tough one, man. That playoff game at home, like you said, I'm thinking we got this one bagged up.
Yeah.
We know North Carolina. We didn't beat them once. They didn't beat us once. It's been some close games. We got this, right? We just got to play our style of basketball, and we just didn't. We just didn't play our style of basketball. We was a smart team. We knew how to slow the game down. We knew how to play our style of basketball, but we got caught up playing their game. They was throwing alley-oops. We got caught up playing their game, trying to show off instead of just playing hard-nosed basketball, what we knew how to do, and the game got away from us. And that was the only time, one of the times as a leader, I felt like I let the team down, because I'm like, I knew that we needed to calm down. I knew that we needed to regroup. I knew that, okay, we got this, get your head in the game, you know what I'm saying? But instead of taking the time to lead the team, I let my emotions get the best of me, because I'm like, the game is slipping away. I see, I see the future slipping away, and I'm just getting frustrated. Instead of taking my time to compose myself, lead the team, I kind of just got into myself. So that was a moment as a leader where I didn't lead. I played the game, but I didn't lead. I just played because I got too emotional. And as a leader, you can't get emotional in the game. You got to stay composed, and you got to lead the team when everybody can play their role. I just didn't do that. You know what I mean? Just didn't do that. So it was a heartbreaker.
Yeah,
but you know what? Go ahead.
Oh, good. No, good.
I was gonna say, well, what was good for me though was going down to Y High and playing that All-Star game, because I'm like, first of all, Y High won the state that year, right? But they won with a bunch of players from all over the Bayside. So you can't tell me them players didn't get transferred in. That's one thing. The South can transfer from anywhere. But the North, as soon as we bring somebody in, you know what I'm saying? They got to sit out for a year. They got suspension. You got forfeit the games. Like, come on, man. Yep. The whole whole team was full of good players from other places, and they was hooping. I give them credit, Bubby and them. They was hooping. They was hooping. They was hooping, right? And I felt like, listen, we come down here with our best players from the North. We're gonna show them just who really is, and we end up winning. You know what I mean? So that was that was a highlight, because I'm like, our best players against their best players. I know we good, because I know the talent we got down here. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Now you it's funny you said that, because we've had these, me and Bubs actually had those conversations, because with Craig transferring that year, and how good was that Waha team though, man? I know I didn't.
Man, they was off the chain. We got blown out. Everyone in there get blown out. You know what's crazy though? You know what's crazy is we went down to Y High. We already knew we were gonna get blown out. But we was like, look, let's just try to keep it to a respectable game. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, yo, these some top notch players they got, because we knew from playing down Salisbury. These boys are the truth. They the truth. With all due respect, right? So we knew going into the game that we're not gonna win. But let's not, let's try to keep it respectable.
Yeah.
They came out, just like I don't know.
They did.
They were structured. They was organized. Yeah. Everybody knew their position, played their role. They came out with the press, which we ain't know nothing about. We ain't know how to break the press. They pressed us. You know what I mean? I had like 4 turnovers off the break, because they just pressed me, and it's like,
It was tough.
So it was crazy, because that game was horrible. It was rough. And I can remember when I went down to UMES, Coach P was like, I almost came to that game because they was recruiting Bubby at the time. He was like, I almost came to that game to watch, because I heard y'all was gonna play, and I was like, I was so glad that you didn't come, because it was terrible. It was awful. It was like the worst. It was the worst game that we played. It was like, we knew we was gonna lose, but we just didn't want to get crushed by 50 or 60. You know what I mean?
but hey, nobody beat them that year. So we can't feel all the way bad,
Hey,
but nobody beat them that year.
nah.
But what would have happened is we had beat North Carolina. We would have played them, and I think we would have played them at home. We would have played them in
Woo,
the playoffs. We would have played them in the
woo.
playoffs. But they were good, man. And
It was
like I said, we've
tough.
had those conversations. And I won't even say that it's just the North versus the South. I think it's just Eastern because, like I said, North Carolina they had a transfer. Colonel, they had a transfer those years too.
Yep.
But like you
Yep.
said, we get a transfer, like it happened the following year, it's just how it is. But
It's a
I,
problem.
I, I,
Yeah.
I will say, I will say this. I'm not gonna let you, take all that blame, as far as the playoff game because you might have thought that, but honestly, man, you fought. I don't know if you remember, you busted your nose that game. Somebody hit you in the nose
I remember.
that
Yep.
game in the first half, and you came out in the second half. Came right out in the second half. This 4 quick assists got us back in the game. We ended up, and again, I didn't know this, and that's again why I didn't play well because we ended up tying the game up. So again, if I play like I'm supposed to play, we good. If I play like I'm supposed to play, we win that game. And yes, they were big. I mean, Sean Brown,
They
oh
was
my God,
big.
he killed us.
It was
I mean,
big.
he almost had a
Yeah.
double in the first half. I mean, and then I'm
Yeah.
trying to guard. I'm trying to guard these big guys. And we didn't have Derek Cannon that year. Now the year
Right.
before we were talking about Derek played half that year.
He played.
We didn't
Yeah.
have Derek. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but man, it was like I said, you did all the things you were supposed to do as a leader, and I definitely appreciate you and everything you've done. Out of those 2 years, man, your junior year and your senior, and then we'll move on. I know it's getting late. What would you say was the best year overall? And it could be you could do it from a team perspective, or you could do it from an individual perspective. But those 2 years, because we finished 10-10 and 11-9. 11-9 was a junior year. But which year you think? Which year stands out and why to you?
For me, I had the most fun my junior year, just because really it wasn't a lot of pressure. We all was coming back. It didn't really matter. So I had the most fun my junior year. But I think that we played the best as a team and as a unit, and I think I led better my senior year because I was a little wiser. I understood a little bit more. I had some games under my belt. We talked earlier that I had to play organized ball. So senior year for me, I think was a good year. I look back at it all the time. I'm like, man, I could have done more. You know what I mean? My brother Curtis, he gets mad at me all the time. He's like, yo, Casey, you pass the ball too much. I can remember my senior year. He was like, man, stop passing the ball. Why don't you just shoot? You know what I mean?
It's your time,
yeah. I can hear Coach Heyman in the back of my mind, like, you need to work on your shot. You can't shoot. So really, in all honesty, I was still intimidated to even shoot. And that's why I would just shoot the mid range, because I felt like my jumper wasn't where it was supposed to be. And I didn't want to get out there and make a mockery or embarrass myself. You know what I'm saying? So it really messed my confidence up. So I shot when I had to, but really, I didn't want to. I didn't want to score. If I had that score mentality, I think it would have been a different way. But I was more of just trying to, as long as we play good, then that's fine. You know what I mean? I ain't had that killer instinct like bump, drop 30 on them.
Right. And you know what though? I think I talk to my boy Ty about this all the time. Ty Johnson, is that back then we just played. You know what I'm saying? We played. We whether it was at the Y, whether it was outside. That's how we got better. Yeah, we might have done some individual stuff every now and then, but what I'm getting to is we didn't train. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now these kids now are training. Like, when we used to play these kids across the bridge, we were younger, and we used to play across the bridge, like, man, why they so big? Why they so good? They were training. Like, we weren't training. We weren't lifting weights and shooting and not shooting 100 shots and making 100 shots every day. We were running. We wasn't doing that. So some of that stuff. So like, for instance, like, but I feel like, because Heyman, like you said, yeah, he told you that. But if he was still there, he probably would have made sure you worked on that.
He would have made sure
he would have said every summer he would have said, okay, check this out. This you need to work on. This you need to work on. But when you got so much change, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. But I think for what we had, man, like, we never sucked. So that's one thing we said. We can't say we sucked. So we had some good years. We had some great games, and it was great, man. Dixon, what's up? See Dixon on here.
What's up, Dixon?
So we had some great games.
Yeah.
Let me give you this before I hit a couple other things before I get off here. I know I say 8:30. Look, we almost 9 o'clock. But I appreciate you staying on here.
Yeah, you
You know what I'm
good.
saying? I appreciate everybody. Listen, man, I ain't talked to this brother in a long time, so it might be a while again. So I gotta make sure. So a couple of the stats I was telling you about, as far as like, because again, Gibbo came to us, our your senior year, and he was like, we could, me you and Kevin combined for 45 points. Most times we
Yeah,
good, and we
we're
combined
gonna
for that
win.
a lot. Yeah, I didn't even count all the times, but what I wanted to do was see what our high was as a trio and as a duo. So as a trio, me, you, and Kevin, highest amount of points is 59 points. What year do you think that was? Do you think it was your senior year or your junior year? And I'll give you a hint. It was against North Dorchester, so you play good against them every year. So it was against them. What year was it?
Probably sophomore, junior year. Was it junior year?
Your junior year. Yeah, it was. It was. You got it. Yeah. So your junior year, your junior year in Easton, we combined for 59. We combined for 50. I had 22. Kevin had 21. You had like 16 and 8 and 8, something like that. And then, but guess what? That's not the highest amount as a big three that we combined for with somebody else. Me, you, and Chris Barnett. Shout out to Chris Barnett. We combined for 62 against Kent County, and that was our first ever win together. We combined. I had 25. You had 21. As I mentioned earlier, he had 16. So 62 combined. Yeah, so that was dope to see. I told you about you and Cavi. Y'all best game together was against North Carolina your senior year. Y'all combined for 47. Me and you was against Saints your junior year, my sophomore year. We combined for 49. And then the next two games for me and you, we combined for 46 against Kent, that same game with Chris. And then me and you combined for 43 on your birthday. That was special for me. That was one of my favorite games. That was special for me because I wanted to make sure we got that win for you because I remember we talked about it. We talked about
it. We talked about
it. The game. Yeah.
That was a special
game, man. Yeah, no doubt. That was a special game. So after again another second team, like I said, great career. Dixon said, "What's up, Case?"
What's up, Dixon?
So after school, after high school, did you think about playing ball anywhere else? Did you know you wanted to go to UMES? What was that process like? After that.
Yeah, again, this is I got to give props to Coach Butler because Butler had put together some tapes and he had sent some information out to some people and was like, yo, y'all got to check out Casey. And I can remember the coach at Chesapeake at the time came to a couple of games, gave me a few phone calls and was like, look, come down here, you can play, what position do you feel comfortable at? You want to play the 2, you want to play the 1, which one you want to do? We'll come down here, we'll get you right, do whatever. And there was even some other schools, was one in Texas, a few in West Virginia that was like, yo, come on down, whether it was academically or play basketball. And I thought, I'm going to go, and play ball and it's all good. And I had picked a school in West Virginia that I really wanted to go to. It was like, okay, I'm going to go, we're going to play and get it done. You know what I mean? And I can remember, that summer, it was like a lot of things going on. And I had submitted my application or whatever for UMES late. And Dr. Hughes was the one who helped me even get into UMES. You know what I mean? That was my man. He done a lot for me.
Yeah, that's my man.
I appreciate it. Shout out to him. And so he got me in at the last minute down there. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go down there. And I say, I'm just going to walk on. And it was crazy because that summer before, my mother had got sick and she had some aneurysms on her brain and they had to fly her to Baltimore. And it's like, okay, I don't even care if I play basketball again because my mom was at every game. You talk about that game at North Carolina where I bust my nose. She came down to the stands and was like, you all right. She's a wrecked shot.
Exactly.
So I'm like,
that's right.
I can't play without my mom. You know what I mean? So I wasn't even thinking about basketball. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on school. They can give me some money to play for academics. I'm gonna focus on school. But then when I got down there, I'm like, I saw Bub on the team, and I'm like, yo, if Bubba can make it, let me give it a shot. So I walked
Mm-hmm.
on, played whatever, and that's when Coach P was like, "Yo, you got some talent." That's when he said he was getting ready to come to the Y High game, and I was like, "I'm glad you did, because if you had saw that game, you would have let me get on the team, right?" So they was like, "Listen, you we're gonna put you on, but we want you to sit out, whatever, play the next season." So I said, "Okay." Now lollygag. I played. That's when I played. Was it intramurals?
Intramurals that time?
And
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
my intramural team my freshman year was killing. We was
I
killing.
remember you said.
We had shirts made. We were sponsored. I think it was LimeWire or something. You might know. We were
them
sponsored.
intramurals was dope.
Yo, intramurals was better than the regular game.
It was better than the regular game.
Listen. Yep. On my intramural team, I had Big Mike. I had Smiley. They was on my intramural team, and so I was crushing. Big Mike and Smiley was killing them. And some other freshman dudes that I had played with in the yard. So my intramural team was crushing. We played against the basketball team, Coach P, and he always had his players with him, whatever.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I came out first play of the game, boom, dunk. I never dunk. So I get to college, I'm dunk. And Coach P is like, "Oh my goodness," we ended up losing to them by like a couple of points or whatever. But I had an awesome game. So he was like, "Yo, make sure." So I was in the gym working out. I was doing drills with him. And so the following season, it was my time to shine. You know what I'm saying? I was ready to come out, do the thing, whatever.
Right.
He called me up. He was like, "Yo, you coming to tryouts?" Because I had missed the trial. He's like, "Are you coming? You got to come." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm coming." So I show up, and he's like, "Okay, you automatically in. Let's get it going, right?" I came to one practice, and then I stopped hooping. Just stopped. Man, I didn't have the drive.
Why?
The practice was intense. We was running all the time. You know what I'm saying? Even that summer we was working out. It was running, getting up early in the morning, and it was like I just didn't have that passion to play the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I wanted just to put the jersey on to be like, "Oh, I played D1 basketball," but it wasn't that big of a deal for me at that point. It was like I was chasing all these girls, doing all that other stuff. Like, y'all can have this. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can have this. Yeah. So I just played intramurals and just stopped. My career ended there. It was like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Yeah. That's dope, though. I never knew all that. I never knew all that about the walking. I'm glad I asked you that about walking on and all that. I remember when I got there. I remember something about intramurals because that year you ended up playing on a different intramural team. Because remember I played with Big Mike and Rounds.
I remember.
And, and a couple PG guys. So, but going back to what you said about Coach Butler, you're hit on right about that, because even in your second team, what they had about you in the paper, they said how you had excelled in the classroom. You received the Mons Emotion Award. You had a 3.25 GPA, and Coach Butler had even talked about, and you really want to go to West Virginia. As much as about West Virginia, because it said you want to go to it said you want to go to West Virginia Westland, West Virginia State, Davis, or Elkins. Or Shepherd College, Davis Elkins, So So that's cool, man. That's cool.
I only wanted to go where they wanted me. So it's like, this where you want to go. I want to go where they wanted me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they had showed interest. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is where I want to be. God didn't have it work out that way, but it's a blessing. Yeah. Like I said, I'm grateful for Coach Butler to pave that road for me. And I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to do that, because it's a good thing. You know what I mean? And it really, it's good that I stopped and I didn't play in college, because traveling and, going to all these different states and stuff, I was already wild at home at UMES. Yeah. I ain't even go nowhere else. You know what I'm saying?
It was enough there.
It was enough. It was enough shenanigans going on there that I didn't need to go nowhere else to get no more trouble. So stay right here in Maryland. You don't need to go to New Mexico and all that. You know what I'm saying? My boys will come back and have stories about, you should have been there. I'm like, no, I shouldn't. No, I shouldn't. Yeah, you know, I wouldn't even play no ball. I just would have been out there wild. I don't think I got kicked off. Probably got kicked out of school. So it's good.
Shout out to UMES and the HBCUs out there. They started to get more talk about the HBCUs now with everything going on. So shout out to the HBCUs. But great times, man, great times. So look, man, I know it's getting late. I want to hit you with a couple, quick things, and I'm gonna let you go. But talk a little bit, man, about we talked a lot earlier about the foundation. Talk about how that foundation has put you in position now to be the man of God you are, to be the minister you are, to do the teaching and serving that you do right now.
Yeah, man, it's a blessing. We talked about earlier how I was raised in the church, and that foundation was put in me. I was taught right from wrong. And I was taught that, either you're going to serve God or you're not. Either you're going to go to heaven or you're not. And that choice is yours. You make that choice, right? Nobody's going to force you. God not going to hold you down and make you do what he wants you to do. He's a gentleman. So either you're going to follow him or you're not, right? And for a long time, I chose not to. I knew what was taught to me, but I chose, like most young people, to have a good time. For a long time, I'm going to do me. I've been in church all my life. Now I'm out here, I'm living, I'm doing everything I'm big enough to do, and I thank God, though, that I got to a point where it was like, okay, Casey, if you stay in this vein, it's nothing but trouble for you. You're going to find yourself either locked up, you're going to find yourself in a situation that you just don't want to be in. So either you're going to turn your life around or you just going to keep going in this direction, and trouble is what's ahead of you. So I slowly began to make a turn, but it was like I had one foot in and one foot out, and it wasn't until I met my wife where the Lord had started really dealing with me. And he had told me, he's like, once you meet your wife, it's full-time ministry. Like, you don't have no option. Like, you either gonna go in or you're gonna have to deal with a lot of hell in this lifetime because you're being disobedient, right? It was that real for me. And when I had met her, I told her the very first time we had a conversation, I'm like, I'm gonna marry you. The Lord had told me I'm gonna marry you, right? Now we had a lot of other shenanigans take place in between that time. Years that went by, off and on, carrying on, but it was like the Lord said, as soon as you get married, it's full-time ministry. Because again, God understood that I couldn't be out here by myself. If I was out here ministering alone, it's too much temptation. You got to have your helpmate with you so that you can stay focused. And then once I got married, it was like a year or two after that, really started to get involved in the church, started to attend the church that she was attending. And I'm grateful for that, because I told her, I said, ain't no way in the world I'm going down to Southern Maryland. Like at the time, I was way out in Westminster, in school, and I'm like, look, that's a hike. It's like 2.5, 3 hours to get from, one place to another. I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? And then end up moving out here and going to the church, and, the pastor and the first lady poured into our lives together collectively. And, they saw beyond the mess, they saw what God had intended for us to be and poured into us. Going to church and Bible study and sitting underneath of them. And it was, like a light bulb went off. Like, okay, it's time to move forward. It's time to stop doing all this other stuff you doing. It's time to focus. And that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. I went in all the way, stopped playing games, stopped 1 foot in the church, 1 foot out the church, and just said, I'm going to do what God has called me to do. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm just doing exactly what God has called me to do in the way that God has called me to do it. I can't be like anybody else. I can only be me, And it's crazy because, being on here talking to you, you see, I'm a loud person. Sometimes my voice gets high pitched. I get excited. You know what I'm saying? It's like, me too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, that's just how we were going up on the show. I'm just me. So you get me. When I minister, you just get me. That's it. That's the way God has given it. And so, it's just straightforward and to the point, and then a whole lot of hooping and hollering, and ain't a whole lot of, theatrics. Yeah. It's just straight teaching.
It's authentic.
Because this is the way God has given it to me. And it's crazy because, every time I get up or I'm asked to speak or to minister or something, the way God works with me is like, he'll give me the scripture, and then he'll just go silent. And I'd be like, Lord, I got to speak in like, an hour. What's going on? And he'll just go silent. And then when it's the time to speak, all I have is the scripture that he gave me. And it just comes out straight from him. Yeah, it just comes out straight from him, because I don't have anything written down except for the scripture that he gave me. And he just brings it. So God is a wonder, man, because all that stuff we learned in Sunday school, even though I wasn't paying attention, and when I was going to Sunday school down in Salisbury, it's still there, man. It is still there, man. there. It is still there, and it comes up when it needed. You know, it comes up. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. And like you said, I like that you said that, you know, because everybody is used differently. Like everybody's different. Like you get people all the time that they try to, you know, teach like this person or preach like this person or maybe I can't be as loud. But no, everybody is different. And like you said, he uses you for you. You know what I mean? He wants you to be Casey. You know, he don't want you to be nobody else. He wants you to be Casey. So I like how you put that. I really do. And especially, you know, being young and, you know, even in the area that you're at and different people, you know, people need to see that. They need to say that, okay, I can be me. I can, you know, I can minister to you and I can still have a Under Armour shirt on, you know what I mean? I can have a Black Lives Matter shirt on and still minister to you, because sometimes people think you got to look a certain way, wear a certain thing, you know. But like you said, man, as long as you know living like you're supposed to live, you know, that's all that matters, man. So I appreciate you sharing that, man. I could take that and we could be on here another hour, so I'm gonna stop right there. Yeah. But that's good. Me and you have to talk. We'll have to talk some more about that.
Definitely have to talk about
offline. It. But that's some good stuff right there. So I gotta, you know, I know you're a Boston fan, and you sitting up there looking like a older Jason Tatum. You know what I'm saying? As a Boston fan. So I know you said you ain't watched too much ball this year, man. But what's your outlook on the Celtics, man? I know you might not look that 2 year, but going forward though, what you know with Tatum and Brown, they both made the All-Star game. You know, how you think y'all future look? You know, Kemba Walker need a little banged up. You might need another big. But how you feel about the team?
I always think we're gonna make the playoffs. You know, that's why I don't really watch until the playoffs. I always think we're gonna make the playoffs. Right now, what we do when we get into the playoffs is a whole different ball game. But I always think we're gonna make the playoffs. And I'm glad to see Tatum and Brown shine, because I felt like, you know, they should have been getting that shine. Even I was
when Kyrie was there, he was messing that up.
Let me tell you something. I was angry with Kyrie when Kyrie was out for all that time. Them boys was hooping without Kyrie. And then when they brought him back and sat him down, it's like, are you kidding me? Let him. You asked me, put Kyrie on the bench because we hooping. You know what I mean? So that whole I was happy to see Kyrie go. Like I was happy to see him go. But we a young team. We need some solid big men. You know what I mean? I think once we get a couple of more pieces, we'll be in the running. But I always think we're gonna make the playoffs. You know what I mean? And win, lose, or draw. You see, I'm a fan for life. I got my whole run. So
that's how it's supposed to be.
Even if we go down guns blazing, that's all right. I'm a rock with them.
Right.
And I'm definitely gonna rock with them when they play New York, because my brother's a New York fan, so we gotta beat them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Man, I tell you, man, this has been better than great, man. Case, man, I definitely appreciate you, you know, taking your time, man. Like I said, I know it's getting late, man, but just thanks for taking time out to not just talk to me, man, but you know, talk to everybody. A lot of people that ain't seen, people that's gonna see this. You know what I mean? People in the comments, you know, whatnot. So it's been great, man. Like, you know, we're talking about, you know, sports, you know, talking about God, talking about family, you know, talking about community. You know, you inspire me by a lot that you done said as well, man. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. Give my love to your wife and great seeing your son and to the rest of your family, man. You know, let them know I asked for them, man. But that's it, man. Anything else you want to say, you know, before we get up off of here?
Yeah, I just want to say, man, I appreciate you. You know, I appreciate your platform, the ministry that you have, the life that you're living. Like I said, we go way back even before basketball. And so to see the man that you've become today, I'm proud of you, man. So keep pushing, keep doing what God has put on your heart to do. I thank you for this opportunity to share. I came out of hiding just for you. So I appreciate
you did.
I appreciate that. Give me an opportunity to talk. I mean, I had a good time chatting with you. So, you know, hopefully in the future you'll have me back. We'll get a chance to talk. I appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch. You know, I'm still here. You know what I mean? I'm still here, and God has been good to me. And like I said, we talked about ministry. You know what I mean? God continues to elevate and do great things. So I'm just grateful. You know, I'm grateful for where I've been. I'm grateful for where I am. And I'm grateful for where I'm going, because I know this isn't it. You know, God has bigger and greater things for me in store. So y'all continue to watch and pray for me that, you know, I won't turn around and I won't go back, you know, because, you know, once you begin this journey, the Bible says you turn around and go back, you're unfit for the kingdom. So pray for me that I continue to move forward. Yeah.
And we'll do, man. We'll do. Like I said again, man, I appreciate you, man. Love you like a brother. You know that.
Love you too, man.
And,
no doubt.
Man. Yeah, we definitely gonna talk. For everybody listening, appreciate y'all. Everybody watching. Real Sports Fan Podcast, Season 4, Episode 2. We out of here. Peace. All right, man. I'll talk to you, bro.
Love you.
Man.
All right, bro.
Yes, sir. Late, bro. All right.